Hey guys, Jeff Joyner coming to you. So excited and honored to be coming back to the Lawntrepreneur Academy this November. I got to tell you, you need to be there. There's no better place to be if you are a business owner or a couple running a business in the green space than the Lawntrepreneur Academy. It's going to stretch you. It's going to educate you. You're going to leave there inspired, motivated, equipped, and prepared to accomplish extraordinary things in your business. We'll see you there.
You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton, here hanging with you guys today. And guys, we are actually joined by a very special guest. I'm really excited about this. Something a little bit different. We have a call-in from Australia, the land down under. We have none other than Ben Vander Giessen over here with the Australia market on lockdown. He is a lawntrepreneur, business owner, inventor, and actually he's the brains behind the Catch Pro aluminum bagger that you guys all know and love and use out there. So Ben, good morning. Welcome to the show.
G'day, Brian. How are you, pal?
I'm doing good, brother. I was trying to think about how to introduce you. You've almost like checked off on the list of everything so many of us want to do as entrepreneurs and lawntrepreneurs out there. You've kind of done a little bit of everything. So welcome to the show, man. How's things going in your neck of the woods?
Everything is going so great down here. It's a beautiful time of the year at the moment, and we're getting ready to kick off. Our season's about to start, in the next 4 weeks or so. So we've been really busy, still cutting grass here in the winter time. It doesn't really slow for us. So we're gearing up for a big season of grass cutting and selling products.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. So when we're going into fall, winter, you guys are going into spring, summer. Is that right?
That's right. Yep. So the days are getting warmer here, and once it gets above a certain temperature at night time, the grass is on here. So
wow, that's awesome. And you guys have had a pretty mild winter, so the grass is still growing. From what I've heard from Jesse Winter, he was a young man that we did a podcast with, Oasis Lawn and Landscape. Yeah. And then we had Jack Hamilton on here. Actually, I think I did a coaching call with Jack, but he's down in Australia as well. So shout out to all of you guys from Australia that listen to the show. I think we're consistently in the top 150, 200 in the Australian podcast market, but that's pretty cool. So let me ask you this, Ben. What's your background and what's your story in the green industry? Because you used to have a background as a contractor. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I still operate a lawn and landscape business. So that's called Greenscape Solutions. And I got started back in 2002 with my dad. And we formed a business, and, for years and years, it was just a job for me. It wasn't, I was 16 when I started cutting grass. And, I wasn't thinking ahead long term, but as the years went on and as I got older and eventually when I had my own family, it really started to turn into something that was going to be, through all the networking and, just meeting other people, we started getting some really big contracts. So I grew that to like a 4-man crew. And yeah, we were really buzzing. We specialized in retirement villages and really large estate complexes. So yeah, I mean, we were just balling.
Man, that is awesome. Well, here's what I want to do on today's podcast. I wanted to, you and I have actually been trying to line up a podcast here for a couple months, and just our season's going crazy. Just had the baby a couple weeks ago. So a lot of life going on behind the scenes. We were actually getting to catch up and get to know each other a little bit more. You have 3 precious girls as well, so you can totally relate to the whole girl thing and girl dad life. You're giving me a couple good pointers, so I appreciate that. So here's what I wanted to do a little bit was talk about the your business story for a couple minutes, and then something a little unique here, guys. This is actually going to be a fun story, and I think a lot of you guys will really appreciate it. Ben had some health challenges and some life hit him. Life hit him hard, but he also had something exciting that he was working on that allowed him to, still stay in the industry, create a product that so many of you guys know, use, and love, which is the Catch Pro, and it's a really, really interesting and cool story. So if you guys got a good half hour here, you guys want to, hang tight as maybe you're mowing some lawns today. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this story from Ben. It's a crazy success story. I'm actually really excited about giving him the platform to tell a little bit more of it. So, hey, Ben, we're going to do a quick little commercial break here, and then we're going to hear from today's show sponsors. And then if you got a few minutes here with us, I want to hear a little bit more about your business startup story and then the Catch Pro success story. So, guys, let's do this. Let's kick it over to Marty, Mr. Producer, for just a quick second, and then we're going to hear from today's show sponsors, and we're going to come right on back.
When productivity matters, Billy Goat's one and done 30-inch and 25-inch plugger reciprocating aerators deliver. You have a tight window of time to complete your aeration services before the leaves start flying and fall cleanups get underway. So get to it with hydro drive, self-propelled, variable speed, in-ground turning, and the unmatched maneuverability of a Billy Goat reciprocating aerator. Eliminate double aerating and do patch repair and seedbed prep on the fly, saving time and maximizing your productivity. Complete a quarter acre in as little as 15 minutes with the 30-inch and up to just under 43,000 square feet per hour with the 25-inch. Get in more jobs per day and do them with one pass, one machine, a one-man crew, and aerate one time without callbacks. See your local lawn and garden dealer and ask about the 150-day deferred, 0 down, 0% or low-interest financing up to 4 years.
Lawns, lessons, and live. This is the Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast. Now, your host, Brian Fullerton.
All right, so Ben, let's go right back to you. Let's not waste any time. So take me back again to your startup story. So you said you were working with your dad, or did you guys have a business together, or was it your own thing? What did that look like back in the day?
Yeah, so when we first started, I was in the 11th grade, and my dad was working a government job, and he got a redundancy, so he got like a payout to essentially leave that job.
Okay.
And it was suggested to me that I probably shouldn't be in school anymore. I wasn't there to learn. I was kind of like a naughty and disruptive kid. So my dad at the time, he didn't know what he was going to do, and he had a bunch of money. So he said, you know what, I'm going to start a lawn mowing business and you're going to do it with me. And it was kind of, at the start, it was punishment for not doing well at school. And we didn't really make any money, at the start. And we self-trained ourselves. My dad was, he was a white collar guy behind a desk. But being Aussies, I think Australia's favorite pastime is gardening anyway. You know what I mean? So very natural. We ran that business. He signed me in as a co-owner, so I didn't work for him. We owned that business together. After a couple of years, he actually left the business and he went and worked real estate. So I carried it on, and we went through all stages of it. We did the worst of the worst jobs. We picked up some good jobs. We definitely blew some opportunities that, hindsight, I was like, well, I wish I didn't mess that one up. But, as I said, as I got older, and it became a little bit more serious, it became much, much more than just a job. And I realized that as my friends were growing up around me, getting trades and, really building themselves personally, in this world, it was like, wow, I have to really, run with this. So, eventually got my first worker, and I got another worker, and then we started to, upgrade equipment and do all the things that it was just growing organically,
That is really, really cool. Well, so how old were you at the time, though? Were you like 15, 16, 18, or how old are you? Did you take over the business from your dad, or what was the evolution from there?
Yeah, I believe I was about 19 when I took over, and actually something that was fairly pivotal was I had a friend who had a landscaping business in the so he did landscape construction, and
Okay.
he was really into plants and everything like that. I went to school with him, and I would, when I wasn't busy, I would jump on board with him and, you know, do big landscaping jobs. And what would actually happen was when they did these huge, big landscape jobs, they would put a clause in the contract that it had to be maintained for like 3 months afterwards. So like watering the plants, making sure, you know, nothing's dying, all that stuff.
Okay.
So I would do that work, and it was really just like I didn't have to advertise. I didn't have to do anything. My business was just growing through that. So that ended up being, that's where I learned that networking and, you know, building contacts was really important. So my dad was in real estate. Yeah, my dad was in real estate, so we used to get, you know, if they needed to sell a house and they needed it all spruced up and things like that, we would just get, you know, we didn't even have to quote the jobs. It was like, hey, Ben, we need this done. Photos are getting taken on Wednesday. Can you get it done by Tuesday?
Okay.
Yeah, and we would just go in there and do it.
Well, that's pretty cool. I was going to say that's a good lead generator. If you got friends or family always feeding you business like that, that doesn't hurt. So what were you guys doing for mowing? Were you guys using like commercial mowers, push mowers, more residential? Is it like more just lawns and subdivisions? Are you guys more rural? I know I see photos of Australia, but I'm an American, so I'm geographically stupid. So work with me.
Yeah, look, it was definitely a different world back then. Everything was done with push mowers. And where I live, I'm pretty much right on the water in between the Gold and Sunshine Coast. But if you go 10 minutes away from the water, you're surrounded by these beautiful 2-acre, 5, 10-acre lots. And at the time, we weren't equipped. Like back, let's say 10, 15 years ago, nobody in Australia was thinking ride-ons.
Sure.
You know, so I did eventually get one for some of the bigger jobs that we were getting. Once I got a ride-on, I think I had a little Arians. How do you guys call it? Aaron's? Is that what you guys had?
Yeah, we just call it Aaron's, like almost like AARON, or Aaron's, but Aaron's. Yep.
Yeah, well, I ended up getting one of those, and it was an awesome little machine. It was only a residential machine, but once I did that, I was able to start getting into the acreages. But it really wasn't until about like I have had ride-ons for years, but it wasn't until about maybe say 5 to 7 years ago that a zero-turn mower kind of became normal in an Australian lawn mowing business, unless you were 100% rural.
Okay. Now,
yeah, so
that's one thing that like the U.S. And just even the UK, we got a lot of UK listeners. It's just crazy to see your gardener or gardening in the UK, and then they call it different things in different regions and different equipment and brands and mowers all over the place. So I love watching you guys on Instagram that are active on social media, because it just shows a whole different world and trucks and crews. Like is it Martin with mowing and growing, or how do you say it? Is it
Martin Speedy?
Yeah. We did a podcast with him last summer, and that was just a fun episode, because he was talking about his Ford, I think it's a Ford Ranger, his mowers and the different types of trucks and everything. And it's just it's just cool.
it really is a different world down here. So one of the biggest differences is the actual gardening. So when I watch a lot of you guys, it's like, you roll into a property, you mow it, you do the edges, and then you're out of there. But for us, I've at all of my jobs, and especially like my village, the contract that we do, we can trim hedges for like 8 hours and still not be done. It is, and then when I look at the enclosed trailer setups that you guys have, we can't really run enclosed trailer setups because we can go to a job and we've got to take away, weeds, and, we're trimming hedges, and we've got, like these big palm trees that drop all the palm fronds and stuff like that. So
sure.
we pretty much have to run open trailers. You couldn't get rid of all of the green waste.
Yeah, when you go to Florida, shout out to all my Florida listeners. I listen to Paul Capote, the Miami landscaper, and Christian, and a bunch of guys down there in Ohio, down in Florida, and it's a really different market down there because I feel like everybody uses F450, 550 dump trucks, big box trucks not box trucks, but just big dump trucks to take all the palm tree, leaves away, and tons of storms and hurricanes. Wally Beach River, a bunch of guys like that have a bunch of these cool, they have these cool trucks, and it seems like everybody's got a huge dump truck and an enclosed trailer, and I think they need all the space in those dump trucks for all the plants and weeding and shrubbery down there, which is really, really cool, So, well, let me ask you this. I'm just trying to think on the timeline. It's a different kind of a guest from you guys, so work with me here. I'm not, a Joe Rogan over here with my guest interviews, but somebody from a whole different country and ecosystem over there. When you're talking about growing the business and the last 10 years or so, I guess if you want to transition or pivot to the Catch Pro story, because I think that's where a lot of people have used the product, know the product, they've seen us do videos on the product. But you're the face, you're the man behind this whole product, which is really, really cool. I have some friends right now that are designing some products, and they want to debut some of that stuff maybe this fall and winter. And so you got this really, really cool story that is rooted in the most how am I trying to say it? Like the most honorable intention, still are, but it was to make a cool product and also take care of your family. And so, so you got injured, I guess. Was it business related and work related, or something just recreational, or?
Yeah, I guess it was. I mean, like I was one of those dudes where I thought I was unbreakable. I mean, I used to work through, the craziest sicknesses. I could just go all day long. Sure. I would, on the weekends, I would surf all weekend long, and I was really like an active dude. But when I had a family, I guess, and just getting a little bit older, so, I guess maybe I was around 30 at this time, which is still young, right? But, it's a tough industry. It does put years on you. And, just all the mileage and, the trimming the hedges, and in the summertime, I mean, gosh, the sun here is hot, and I was facing some health issues, and maybe, I guess ignoring them. I copped a stinger in my back, and I was like, oh, I'll be right. And, just kept working through it. And it was getting really, really intense. My back was very sore. And even one day, I couldn't even put my boots on. I remember I asked my daughters to come out, and they put my boots on for me. And I got to a job, met one of the workers, and he said, oh man, you don't look real good, eh? Let me handle this. And I was like, no, I'll be right. And eventually he talked me into going home, and he drove me home in the rig. And in that time, my body had completely shut down, and I was frozen, could not get out of the car. And he pulled me out of the car, and I literally passed out from the pain. And next thing I knew, I was in hospital with protruding discs and all sorts of bad stuff. So,
wow.
Yeah. Something that I never ever want to go through. I don't want other people to go through it either. But it led me to a point where certainly for the near future, I was not going to be able to get on the tools and do any work. And at the time, I was already following the American market, and I was looking at what you guys do, and it just blew my mind. Trimmer racks, baggers, like all of these cool things that we've never seen before. And I was like, because I was at home, I was taking pain relief, so my mind wasn't where it was, and I just started reaching out to everyone. And so the side bagger concept was like, it was one that I knew that there was a gap in the Australian market for. And I wasn't thinking the American market initially. I was purely thinking just the Australian market. And I've got to be honest, it took a lot of work, but to come up with something and to kind of get my first sample, it happened pretty quickly. So that's how all of that really started.
So were you laid up, and then you were thinking about putting the side bagger together for you and your mowers, or were you literally just thinking about, hey, I'm going to manufacture these things, I want to do some e-commerce, I want to be a distributor and sell these products, or did you kind of fall into that, or did it evolve into that, or did your thought process go, there's something more here? Like what was the thought process behind designing the bagger then?
Yeah, so initially it was going to be just for my business. Before I got injured, I was already looking into it and coming up with designs. It was just more that I never felt confident that I could stop cutting grass, because it was the only thing I ever knew. It was the only thing I've ever done.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't have the capital behind me to say, okay, I'm going to stop doing this and now I'm going to do this. I knew that I had to do both.
Okay.
But realistically, once we came up with the modular design, because the thing about manufacturing in Australia is we don't have, like if you've got a manufacturing place that cuts steel and then folds the steel, that's what they do. They don't do the welding in there, and they don't do the powder coating in there. It's all different places that specialize in all these things. So what I had to do was I had to come up with a design that could eliminate some of these manufacturing steps, and we had to get it to market at the most affordable price, and we had to cut out all of these side, so using aluminium, we didn't have to powder coat it. The modular design relieved us of the welding. It also, formed a cool concept where if someone's riding along and they smash into something, the panel can be replaced.
Sure.
And also folding the material gave us, it opened up some sort of mathematical equations of how to get the air in and let the air escape while keeping the debris inside the bagger. So that was really cool. We could run, you could run these tests through these programs that they have, and they could show, okay, the grass is going to come in this way, it's going to hit that side wall, and then the air is going to escape like this. So
that's pretty really cool.
Man, it was really cool learning all that stuff.
So let me ask you this. So you coming up with this concept or this prototype or maybe the first couple of units, and then I just find it like fascinating. I love these like business startup success stories. So sorry if I'm kind of like oogling here, but I've watched the Nick Carlsons come up with something and make a mulch mate and the cart mate, and all of you guys know and love them. Shout out to Nick. And then, the guys, the hurricane guys, Rick, he built hurricane mowers, or not hurricane mowers, but hurricane leaf blowers. And he sold that off to Billy Goat and Briggs, 3 or 4 years ago for a very hefty check. Very, very hefty check. Bought like the nicest house on the west side of our state. So shout out to Rick and Bryson and those guys. So I love seeing this stuff come up with, because there's so many of you guys listening in that have these cool little ideas. And I don't mean like little, but these cool conceptual ideas. You're like, why didn't anybody make this? Or why didn't anybody make that? And if you look around, almost everything you see was some guy that wanted to make it better or wanted to improve or fill a need. Frankly, there's a guy that, I don't know if I'm allowed to tell the story, but there's a guy that made the Echo Speed feed head several years ago, patented it or whatnot. Echo bought the rights to probably manufacture and sell it and distribute it, and they sell a million. I don't know, guys, 1 million weed whips a year. Well, homie's out there got his speed feed head on 1 million trimmers a year, or whatever, 20, 30, 80,000 trimmers a year. And so let's say he gets $1 or $5 every time that $20 cap sells. Homie's doing okay.
And there's a whole world out there of opportunities for
it's crazy.
Because you know what as well? I mean, I'm sure we've all, and I'm sure the other listeners can relate to this, but we've all been in the field and we've all been doing something or operating a piece of equipment or whatever it is. And we've all gone, geez, I wish I had one of these, or geez, I wish that was made this way. And that's how it all starts.
Yeah. Or I wish I thought of that, or I did think of that. Actually, funny story to take it back about 30, 40 years. My dad actually put a clock inside a coffee maker, and literally he never went through with it, but he was going to patent a clock in a coffee maker. And I know somebody listening in, because I would be the same way, like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, that's no brainer. What clock or what coffee maker doesn't have a timer or a clock in it? Well, back when rocks were soft and dinosaurs roamed the planet, that wasn't a thing. And my dad was a tinkering type, and he built something like that. And I'm always like, why didn't he take it to market and, blah, blah, blah. But there's so many people, you're like adding a clock to a coffee maker or adding a speed feed head to a trimmer. It is just really, really cool. And so many of you guys are like, hey, I don't want to, let's look at the macro. I'm going on a tangent here, Ben, but if you look at the macro of the green industry, you only got a couple, life opportunities here or spectrum timelines. Like one, you grow a $10, $20 million company or a $2-3 million company and you sell it. Or you're owner operator forever and you just take money and get rental properties and have a good IRA, 401k, whatever. Or you, I don't know, there's only 4 or 5 outs in our industry. Maybe there's a dozen, but you guys know what I'm saying. And I know, and I could introduce you to probably a dozen, at least, people that I know. And little old me, I guess a lot of people follow us, but I even myself, I know of a dozen plus people that have made something, they've patented it, other people are selling it, they're getting $1. And maybe it just sparks the interest of some of you guys out there that might want to go, down that route. The Incredible Bottle guy, he came up with something, and it could be something like a mower or a blower like Rick with Hurricane. It could be, the Darwin's grip with Robbie, making a little Darwin's grip and sells tens of thousands of those things. I mean, it's so cool. So
that's the Darwin grip is that's our biggest seller down here. So
it's crazy.
I won't use a whippersnipper without a Darwin grip ever again.
I love that you guys call them whippersnippers. Jesse taught us that, and There's nothing funnier than an 8-year-old boy saying "whippersnipper." So I don't know.
Yeah, like we get
awesome.
On our YouTube videos, and we don't have the hugest audience because a lot of our YouTube videos are based around our products that we either sell or manufacture, right? So
sure.
They're mostly like do sort of stuff, but we get a lot of Americans commenting on the Darwin's Grips videos, and they're like, they're like a whippersnipper, and they're like, man, I am using that forever now. I'm never going to call this a line trimmer again. And it's really cool for someone like me sitting here to be able to have input and influence on, I love that American-Australian connection that we're all building.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's great for the industry, and we can have a lot of fun with it too, because down here, nothing is called its real name. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
You can have breakfast. It's like, hey, let's have some brekkie, or just things like that. So it's great.
While I got you, do you guys call appetizers Aussie-tizers by chance?
No, I never heard that one. No, never heard that one.
I'm losing credibility here. I went to Outback and Outback Steakhouse. It's like a chain steakhouse. It's exceedingly mediocre, and so they have appetizers, and they call them Aussie-tizers. And I had a girl once, a server, and Liz and I were out to eat, and I asked the lady if I could have an Aussie-tizer, and she looked at me and she goes, "I've been working here for, I don't know, 7 years or whatever," she had said. And she just like looked at me like a dog hearing a whistle and said, we don't call them Aussie-tizers here. And I said, oh, and I was just having fun, but it's just kind of funny. But I don't know, maybe somewhere, I mean, we're trying to get all the different regions of Australia. So maybe somebody out there calls it an Aussie-tizer. But all right, well, let's go back to the Catch Pro, because I just, squirrel. But it's late night for me. It's early morning for you, actually. So let's go back to the Catch Pro. So you come up with this design, this prototype, modular meaning sectional pieces like you were talking about. There's other baggers out there. There's Accelerator. I think Wright might have one. There's other good options out there. You don't have to buy the Catch Pro. I mean, I know Ben would appreciate it if you do, but so you come up with this idea, and then you're thinking, hey, I could sell these out of my garage. I could start a small distribution business. What was the next level after that? Because I think a lot of guys come up with a cool idea, but then they're like, how do I get it to market? And that's the $1 million question. How do you make sales? Because everybody can come up with cool stuff, but if you can't get it to market or get it in front of the customer, that's the biggest part of the bottleneck in the hourglass, if you ask me.
Yeah, well, one of the biggest roadblocks for me was, so like, because I used it in my business and I could use it through all of these different conditions and, different types of grass and wet and, things like that, I believed in it like nobody else. Like it's different when it's yours. So, social media really blew it open. But one of the biggest roadblocks for me was I didn't really feel very comfortable, being behind a camera or being the face of Catch Pro. It's not like I'm a dumb person or anything, but I didn't even finish school, and then I went straight into grass cutting.
Sure.
Now,
sure.
I wasn't, I didn't believe that I was ready for sales or to, have meetings with people. And, I was convinced that I needed a distribution deal in Australia. So I just started approaching everyone. Now, the difference between Australia is you really only got a few key Australian distributors. So one of the big distributors here, Roy Gripsky and Sons, they distribute, Hustler mowers, Spartan mowers, and they have a huge accessories and parts, blades, bump feed heads, the speed feed heads, all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it took me like I would take my product to the dealers and I would, email and everybody was just like, huh, what's this? And it was literally like speaking a different language. So in the end, my brother-in-law, Josh, shout out to Josh because he is really instrumental in the business. It's not just me. He runs the whole website, does all the fancy stuff that you see on Instagram. So shout out to Josh. But he said to me, he said, hey, Ben, you're going to have to man up and you're going to have to do these videos and we're just going to have to hustle. You're just going to have to show all of these videos of this product working and why it can be a positive to, all of these businesses. So eventually, it's kind of a bit embarrassing actually going back, but some of our first videos that we ever launched was me. I was actually being paid to, do the job, cutting the grass. Sure. But I'm doing like full demonstration video and my wife's just there. My wife's just there with an iPhone filming me. Hey,
that's okay, by the way. That's okay. Just try to get permission of the property owner. You know what I'm saying? But
well, now, I mean, we just, even now, like we just do it wherever now. Like it's nothing to me now. But at the time, it was like, like we'll be at my retirement village contract now. And we'll shoot like a full setup video, and you got all these old people walking around like, hey, man, like, oh, hey, Ethel,
right.
So, but essentially, that was the Australian side. But then I stumbled across Corey Ballard from Ballard Products, and I was mesmerized by this dude's intensity. Reached out to him, and he was just like, he said to me, I think one of the first messages he sent back, and he sent right back. He's like, I want that. Give me 500. And I was like, whoa, dude, we need to work some stuff out because, there's, being down here in Australia, it's, it's a different ball game. So we got chatting and, he loved the product straight away. He'd been trying to develop his own. He'd also been trying, pretty hard to come up with, like there was a gap in his market. And, just being the, everything that he has to deal with in his daily life with people putting products on his desk and, him trying to come up with his own stuff, and he's got Perfect Cut and a family. He was like, hey, then let's do this. Let's talk about this. And that's when we really got rolling.
Wow. I mean, in 500, by the way, not $500, but 500 units, which is, had you sold 500 units before that time, or was this like a mega game changer?
Oh, gosh, no. It was, look, I wasn't thinking about the American market. I had reached out to Ed Wright. Obviously, Ed's got the Grass Gobbler. One night and I don't drink alcohol, right? But one night I did have a couple of drinks, and I thought, I'm just gonna reach out to Ed, and I just sent him a text. And once again, he couldn't have been more gracious. He wrote back, hey, Ben, this is great. I love the look of this product. And we went back and forth for a little bit. And it was just, like they, really for them, accessories is difficult because they build mowers, right?
Right.
Sure. So we sort of went back a little bit back and forth, but then, as I was speaking to Corey more and more, I just realized that this is a dude that is going to work nonstop. His work ethic, like he's like a machine. It's like he doesn't sleep.
Corey,
I call him the Vince McMahon of the lawn care industry because he does not stop.
Well, it's funny because I'll text Corey. I'll tell you what, he does stop at about 9:30 p.m. He goes to bed, which I haven't gone to bed at 9 p.m. since I was 10 years old. But he on the flip side, he's up at 4:35 in the morning, without fail. And many a times, it sounds weird, but many a times I'm going to bed while he's waking up because I'm editing YouTube videos and working on Launchpreneur Academy. I mean, guys, I can't be any more honest when I say this stuff. Like, I've built everything that we're doing up until maybe this year after 10 p.m. I mean, my first 4 years and 80, 90,000 subscribers and everything we're doing, I literally built it after 9, 10 p.m. I mean, I'm doing the same thing you guys are doing. Like, where would I have found the time? I shoot some videos just like you were on an iPhone or my old little Canon cameras that I got gifted from Liz, and we were, just broke and hustling like you guys listening. Maybe not broke, but just hustling, right? And so Corey and I text all the time. Corey and I text literally every day. He is nonstop. He's a machine. He's a hustler. He's a businessman. And he is, a lot of you guys, once you get to know Corey, and Corey doesn't stop enough to like just slow down. He's not a big small talk guy, but when you do get him to slow down, he is honestly, guys, a very genuine, nice guy. And I'm not just saying that because we're Brian's 10 Ballard ambassador and, we get a kickback. I mean, we're so beyond that with making money with our social media. Like it's not why I really make any of how I make any of my decisions, but I'll tell you, Corey is a genuine dude. He does care. He's very, very nice. If you need something, I really do believe he's the kind of guy that would give the shirt off his back. And by the way, he's very successful. He's very wealthy, and he's still, he's a little flashy. He's made some money. What would you guys do if you've been kicking ass for 20 years? What would you guys do? I wouldn't be rocking crappy shoes and crappy, watches. So I applaud the guy for
M truck.
Yeah. I mean, he's done well for himself for 20 years, for crying out loud. So I just say all that just to say, like, if you're supporting him, you're supporting a good dude who behind the scenes does so much good stuff you guys wouldn't even know, and it's not really my business to share either. But so when you're talking about bringing the Catch Pro to market,
yep.
There's two parallel paths here. So you were telling me before we hit record, your back injury was taking you out of like the physical day-to-day work. You still wanted to tell that story, because it was actually really inspiring. It was really touching.
When productivity matters, Billy Goat's one and done 30-inch and 25-inch plugger reciprocating aerators deliver. You have a tight window of time to complete your aeration services before the leaves start flying and fall cleanups get underway. So get to it with hydro drive, self-propelled, variable speed, in-ground turning, and the unmatched maneuverability of a Billy Goat reciprocating aerator. Eliminate double aerating and do patch repair and seedbed prep on the fly, saving time and maximizing your productivity. Complete a quarter acre in as little as 15 minutes with the 30-inch and up to just under 43,000 square feet per hour with the 25-inch. Get in more jobs per day and do them with one pass, one machine, a one-man crew, and aerate one time without callbacks. See your local lawn and garden dealer and ask about the 150-day deferred, 0 down, 0% or low-interest financing up to 4 years.
Yeah, so, I was literally in bed for a couple of weeks, right? I just couldn't move. But as I started to get back onto my feet, it was suggested to me that I needed to change my daily routines, and I was no longer going to be, lifting heavy mowers, climbing up ladders. I was not going to be able to do those things without being back in the same position. So at the time, I had just started Catch Pro. I was just sort of touching base with Corey, and, financially, because I had to hire another person, I could still run the business, but because I essentially had to take on, and a lot of other business guys, owner operators, hopefully will be able to relate to this, but like, I always felt like I did the work of two men every day on the tools. It's just, you can have a worker or you can have a crew. Like I had a crew that would go out and do some work, and I always had someone working with me. And I always felt like even by myself, I could achieve as much as that whole other crew by themselves, because no one cares as much as the business owner, right?
100%.
So I did have to hire someone who, he was coming in here and there anyway. We were using him. So he knew the jobs, he knew my equipment, and I was able to delegate a certain amount of responsibility to that person, but it was going to cost me. It was going to cost me $1,000 a week. So I didn't have an option. I just did it. And, I started to focus on, because the reality was, even though that was costing me $1,000, if I sold a grass catcher, I would make $500, right? So
Okay.
I only needed, and this is in the Australian market, I only needed to sell, 2 grass catchers to break myself even. So as long as I was doing that, I wasn't going backwards.
Okay.
Before that, I just could never really dedicate the time to stop the grass cutting and to focus on Catch Pro. I wasn't prepared to make that decision because, having a young family and everything like that, my main goal in life is to make sure that my girls have everything that they need to have. And so that was always the most important thing to me. And the only way that I could do that at the time was cutting grass.
Right.
But hey, look, once we got out there a little bit, once we became affiliated with Corey, it blew the door open, because all of a sudden, especially with the volume of the American market and social media is blown wide open, the Australians were always like, hey, I think I need a Catch Pro, but who is this Ben guy? Like, they wanted to know more about me before they would support the product. Once they saw Corey getting on board and a few key Americans, they were like, whoa, this thing's got legs. I'm just going to get one.
Sure.
And, and like I said, to just go back to Corey, he wasn't just a person that said, yeah, okay, look, I'll buy these, rah, rah, rah. He puts a lot of his own time and money into the Catch Pro. He's very proactive in bouncing ideas off me to improve the product, improve sales. He's very instrumental in the products that he sells and very invested. So we worked out a deal, and I signed the licensing over to him so that he can manufacture and sell over there. We worked out a pretty cool deal where I get, every unit that he sells, I get X amount. It's a deal that works for him. It's a deal that works for me. And that enabled me to be able to get a check without going and killing myself in the sun every day.
Wow. Absolutely.
And not only that, what it actually opened up was, it opened up an avenue for me to be able to buy and sell all of these cool products that Corey has. So, the Darwin's grip, the Incredibottle, the trimmer covers, all of these things, the advanced shoot system, that's been a huge one for us. And then once we started building some capital and getting those checks from Corey, it helped us to be able to have a look at, okay, we've got Equipment Defender. And I just reached right out to him. I was like, hey, man, we got a market here. Look, we are brand new, but we want to grow with you guys, and we think we can do all right with this. And Equipment Defender has been pretty much one of our best product lines.
Yeah.
And I don't know, what is his name, Matt? His name's Matt.
I was going to say, I thought I got you in touch with Matt a couple year or two ago.
Yeah, I think I reached out to you first because, being in Australia as well, sometimes you send that email and it just goes straight to the junk file and nobody sees it. So yeah, I do believe you gave me that contact, and the same thing. Matt was like, he was very, he looked at us and he's like, okay, this is a semi startup. But we don't have anyone else there. So let's roll. And you know what? Now people, I've got my own dealers. I've got people that are going right behind my back straight to Matt, and they're like, "Oh, hey, we can do better than Catch Pro Rara." And he's very loyal, just like Corey. And he's like, "No, Ben is our guy. He's supporting us. He's growing. If we're not going to sell to you." So I was able to lock in those exclusive deals. And now, if anyone wants an Equipment Defender rack or something from Corey, it has to come through us.
Yeah.
And that's been,
so
the loyalty has meant so much to us.
100%. So let me ask you this, elephant in the room. Did you think 5-10 years ago that you would evolve to a distributor or marketing these products, coming up with your own product, but also marketing and offering these products to other folks, in Australia? Or is this like the wildest thing you've ever would have imagined?
It's pretty wild, man. And no, I would never have thought that. And, a lot of people internally within my own circles, when I would talk about this and when we would get started, everybody just told me to leave it alone. My wife, Vicky, when I'm like spending all this money and, things are getting tough, she was even like, she was so supportive and like, she's like, I can just tell Ben that you're going to do this just because you are up all night brainstorming, reaching out to these Americans, having, these conversations. And so she was very instrumental in, being supportive and being like, hell yeah, let's do this.
That's awesome. That's always so cool when you have the wife behind you. Like, the ship could be sinking, but if they're right there with you with a pail to get the water out and to rebuild at the same time, it's almost like you have 10 people, in your corner, if you will, So that's, I have been there and I know what you're talking about. That's so cool. So how, if people are in Australia, and by the way, just to back up a little bit, if you guys buy a Catch Pro, great. If you don't, no big deal. We're not here to give you a pitch on the Catch Pro. I just think it's a very, very, very cool story to hear somebody out in the field, one of us, one of you, same thing, find a need, build something, find a niche, find a market for it, figure out how to get it out there. I mean, a lot of you guys are going to go to GIE Plus Expo, and we got the code, Brian, I think it saves 50% off on your registration, blah, blah, blah. Well, if you go to GIE, one of the coolest things to me is not necessarily the Exmark booth and the Wright booth and the Site One booth, although that is cool. It's always these little niche startup booths that are tucked away in the corner. They're usually in the very back of the show and like in the nosebleed, of the show, and not a lot of foot traffic, and it's kind of not as exciting of an area. But there's always people. There's always some guy out there with a new widget or product or service or thing, and he's trying to get it out there. The Nick Carlsons, the Wyatts with the ramp racks. It's really cool seeing these products and these little startups. I mean, the big shows and even like my local show, the MGIA, there's always these like one-off booths, and I'm like, what are you selling? And they're like, it's like the ShamWow stuff. You're like, what is going on here? But
those guys that set up the booths too, I mean, they're hustling by doing that. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
They've made that decision. They're like, right, I'm going to put myself out there, because it's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do in front of, live customers, people walking around everywhere, and you're literally putting yourself out there and being like, no, I'm standing behind this. And so I think it's an awesome thing. I've been trying to get to GIE for like 2 years. Corey literally was like, because I don't know how much plane tickets are over there from here, but like pretty much they're expensive, right? And Corey's like, hey man, I'll fly you over. And then all of this COVID stuff happened, and it's just like 2 years in a row. It's like, oh damn, there goes that opportunity. So many people that I've wanted to meet in person, that I'm just not going to be able to meet now until, well, I don't know when. We can't leave the country here. So, bit of a roadblock there, but I can't wait to go to GIE.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Here's one thing I will say. Thank you to you guys that do use the code and buy the Catch Pros. If you know, probably should have said this 45 minutes ago, but the Catch Pro is a side aluminum bagger that can attach to the deck of pretty much any mower, different brackets, but it's not the biggest, side catcher for grass or leaves. However, it's a great catcher to get started with doing leaf cleanups. Maybe you can't buy nowadays a $4,000 clamshell bagger for your zero turn. Or let's say you have a 36-inch or 32-inch stand-on unit with a gated backyard or a pool area and you want a bagger. You can throw this, we're getting a call. But you can throw this bagger on that mower and go do somebody's, backyard with a leaf cleanup. So, and I don't know how many bushels and all that mess or how many cubic feet, but it's a great option to help you start doing leaf cleanups. And I know so many of you guys use them all through spring, all through fall. I did a video on them on YouTube, actually, if you want to check that out, where we compared it actually to the accelerator, and we were just showing the two different options. But if you guys want to check them out, ballard-inc.com, Brian Sten saves 10%. You can get a Catch Pro. And it's really cool knowing that your guys' business wins, Corey's business wins, and then Ben, all the way in Australia, is getting to be able to, be a full-time dad, a part-time business owner, marketing other products and services, with I think he's marketing ISO tunes, Equipment Defender, probably half dozen other things down there in Australia now. And so I don't want to say like it's supporting a good cause, but it's supporting another lawn bro in the industry who, is trying to take care of his family. And to me, I just thought it was a really, really cool story. And then it's an inspirational story, Ben, to so many other guys out there that are looking to build something, bring it to market. I guess get it to Corey, right? I guess that's one of your checkmate go-to plays, here, but just having some fun there, but maybe. But so let me ask you this, Ben. If people want to buy products or services down in Australia, do they buy off a website or do they just call a phone number? How does that, this isn't like, this is a tangent, but how does that work?
Yeah, well, I mean, at the moment, we get flooded on every single platform. People send me Instagram messages, Facebook messages, then you get it through your business page and you got your website sales. But essentially, for any of the Aussie guys, jump on the website, which is just catchpro.com.au, and you'll find all the products there. Alternatively, we do have lawnmower dealers set up across the country, pretty much everywhere. So you'll be able to walk right into your dealer and get that. And obviously we appreciate the support. Shout out to all my guys from LMCA. So this is a lawn mowing contractors group. It's a closed group, but they all love you, Brian. They all follow you. They all watch your content.
Thanks.
So, man, you got a pretty big Australian following. I know out of all the videos, or say different YouTubers, I think when I first came across you, maybe, 4 years ago or something like that, I always enjoyed your videos because it just seemed very natural and real. And so that's what made me sort of gravitate towards, watching a lot of your content as opposed to other people's content. So
that's cool. Well, thank you. One day I want to get over to the UK and do a meetup or something. And one day it'd be cool to like go to Australia and do a meetup. Despite what some of you guys think, I don't know. I'm not balling out of control here with the Mr. Beast YouTube millions. Okay. I was talking to Liz the other day. I bet you 99% of you would get it wrong with how much you think I make from YouTube. And that's a fact. And we make money with a lot of stuff now because I've had to diversify because YouTube is just shutting people down, censoring people. It's a whole nother story. But in general, like AdSense, the views don't pay as much as you guys think. I guarantee you that 99, I mean, even my family, they would think that I make 2, 3, 4x what we make on YouTube. And it's just not true. And so, all that being said, like I would love to buy a $2,000 plane ticket to Australia, but maybe Corey can buy one from you to come over here, and he can buy me one to go send over to check you out. You know what I'm saying? Go hang out with you. So that's funny right there. But hey man, if that was a business trip to, you said you're in Brisbane, that'd be a really, really cool time. Maybe I could take the wife and we could write that off and do a huge Australia meetup. But what's like the, we'll probably land the plane here and button this up. We're almost at an hour. This has actually been a super fun story and conversation. The pleasure's been all mine. But what's like the hot spots or the big cities, or where are you at, and what's some of the other bigger spots of Australia that have a bunch of lawn bros out there all over Australia?
Yeah, so I mean, look, I think most Americans probably are mostly familiar with, like, say, Sydney or Melbourne, but Brisbane, where I live, is a huge hotspot. So we're in Queensland, we're in South Queensland, but as you start trekking further north, it just gets hotter and hotter and hotter, and you get all the storms and rain coming in. So Queensland is a huge hotspot for our industry, and we also have a few big key distributors that are set up in Brisbane. So one thing that's probably interesting to some of you that people might not know is that when I had reached out to Ed Wright a little while ago, I was absolutely fascinated with stand-on mowers, and stand-on mowers have only become popular in Australia in the last 24 months, right? So everyone's like, oh God, why would you stand? And because of my back injury, I knew that this was something that I had to do to be able to cut any grass at all. And
makes sense.
Ed had lost his Australian distribution deal while they fired the guy because he kind of messed it up. So I said to Ed, Ed, I can get your mowers back here. And I went around to all the distributors for him. I worked with his international distribution manager. And Cox Mowers, which was an Australian manufacturer of mowers since like the 1960s, they stepped up and did a deal with Ed, and now we have predominantly the Standard B, but we're going to have all of the ZKs and all the cool mowers that Ed makes. They're all landing here right now, and people are getting amongst them, so it's awesome.
No kid. That's so cool, man. Well,
we're trying to get this thing off the ground. It's just a little bit of fun. It's not an avenue for revenue, but the stand-on mower army, I'm sure you've seen, or maybe you haven't seen on Facebook and Instagram, but it's not an Australian thing. We want to do it with the whole lawn care community, but it's basically just a place to share stand-on mowing content, or if anyone's looking for the pros and cons, that's a good place to do it.
That's so cool. So cool.
Our army is the new thing.
That is so cool. Well, there's I am a big stand-on believer. I'm going to be an even more of a believer in October at GIE Plus Expo, NDA, right? So I can't talk about anything, which makes no sense. But any which way, so guys, make it the GIE Plus Expo. If you're a fan, I'm not going to say anything because, dude, I say something and then it gets back to 19 people and then I get in trouble because I get emails and phone calls. Did you say something? No. And they're like, well, somebody said you said something. So I guess I like to keep secrets, but I like to talk. I'm like, hey man, I signed an NDA, but I can't say anything. But dude, this is this, and this. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just having fun.
I know where you're going, but I won't say it.
Oh yeah. But no, this is a super fun conversation, and if anything, maybe some of you guys are listening in. There's 1,000 different ways to make money in the green industry, right? You can mow grass, hardscape, landscape. You can be a tech. You can do fertilizer. I mean, all this stuff, and then you can be in the corporate side. You can work at all these companies that facilitate the products and services. You can have a patent and be an inventor and or have IP or software. I mean, If you guys ever have anything cool and you want to email me, feel free to send anything, Brian's Lawn Maintenance 2007@gmail.com. That's our email. I check it every 10 seconds. But I get somebody sending me an email or a link to something new or cool every day. And it's tough because I got to vet some of this stuff, and I don't really showcase like the newest stuff sometimes because people think like I'm their meal ticket, and I'm like, hey dude, nice prototype, go sell 500 units or 1,000 units or be around 2 years from now, and then let's regroup and talk. And I say that like the most respectful I can, because I used to promote a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and people aren't around 3 months, 6 months, 9 months from now. Same thing with social media. Like, hey man, I launched a podcast or I launched a YouTube channel. Can you give me a shout out? Typically no. You gotta earn those stripes for a year or two and prove to me that you're going to help the community and be around. Once you do that, I have no problem promoting and edifying somebody, but it takes work, And so I guess just a lot of words just to say that it's so cool to see the proof of concept that you had to come up with, how you got into Corey's, network and what he's been able to do with that. And I know for a fact, a couple hundred of you guys probably used the code Brian's 10 on the Catch Pros last fall, because I dropped a video that got like 60,000 views in like a month. So we appreciate those orders, no doubt about it. If you guys are looking to get going with a leaf removal game and snow, leaf cleanup, great option for you there. Check out the Catch Pros, and they're solid. I mean, we have one and we throw it on our stander and we love it. So, Ben, that's what I got for right now. If people want to follow you and keep up with you, plug all your socials, because we had a worldwide audience here. So where can people find you from the US and Australia and everywhere else?
Yeah, so on Instagram and Facebook, so it's just we go underneath the Catch Pro name, so it's Catch Pro lawn care equipment for pros. So Facebook, Instagram, we do have a YouTube channel. Most of our content is based around like how to's, how to put a Darwin grip on a whippersnipper, or how to mount this Catch Pro here, or just basic content around if you're looking, say if you're looking for an equipment defender rack and you want to know, okay, is it going to go on my trailer, or is it going to go on whatever. We have a few videos about that sort of stuff. Lots and lots of folks are adding my personal profile, which is cool. I love that. So I'm on Facebook. I don't have Instagram though, because I'm just not artistic enough with with all the photos and it's just such a big game out there. Like, you got these dudes that take these awesome photos.
Oh, my photos suck. I know what you're talking about. I'm the least qualified person to have an Instagram. Especially with my wife, who has like amazing photos on hers. I'm like, can you teach me how to not suck at Instagram? And she gives me tips, and I like try to do what she does, and I don't know. It's like when a chef bakes a cake, and then when you bake a cake and they look nothing alike. But so I feel you there. But so
oh, no, it's crazy, yeah.
Well, on Facebook, it is Ben Vander Giessen, Giessen. He's got the Catch Pro as his photo and avatar there, and probably see him and his beautiful kids there and his family. But give him a follow. If you guys are on Facebook, if you guys want to check out the product here in the US, it's on Ballard Products. You can go to that website, type in the Catch Pro, and pretty simple stuff, man. But if folks want to get a hold of you in Australia, it was catchpro.au. Is that right?
.com.au, yes.
Okay, there you go. So .com/au, or what was that? One more time.
Catchpro.com.au.
Oh, .au after that. Okay, fair enough. Well, don't know how the internet. Yeah,
the Australians.
Is that you guys got the internet there?
Yeah, well, funny enough, lots of people go to Corey's website and they ring me and they're like, "Oh, the shipping's ridiculous." And I'm like, "What website are you on?" That's
okay.
That's the power of Corey's marketing. So,
well, it's funny with the same thing with the Darwin's grip. People are like, "Man, I go to Ballard-Inc." I'm like, you could just go to darwinsgrip.com and use the Brian's 10 code there, because Robbie always reminds me. He's like, "Hey man, I'm cutting Ballard in a little bit on that. I want to keep the house." I'm like, what do you want from me, dude? You know what I'm saying? But I'm just having fun. Robbie's a good dude, and we all have fun and get along. We're all so super competitive, but whatever. You guys can go wherever you want, check stuff out. But all right, Ben. Well, hey, man, this is a really cool story. There's a lot in here, and again, to any of you guys that are trying to come up with something cool behind the scenes, maybe we'll see your product out on the market. 6 months, a year, 2 years from now. It's just so cool to see that kind of stuff come together, and I love it. I was saying this before we hit record, was that it's not like an American dream to own your own business. I think that's a huge misnomer. It's not, America and freedom and capitalism. Yeah, 100%. But you guys got to realize that the dream of entrepreneurship and freedom, and this isn't a popular message, by the way, these days, but that is a huge thing that so many people on this planet and in many different countries are pursuing. And so, Ben, before we hit record, you were saying that it's allowed you to be an entrepreneur and to chase some financial freedom, take care of your family. What else were you suggesting? Because that to me was the really cool thing that before we hit record, that's like, you got to talk about that.
I mean, the biggest thing for me was it allowed me to stay relevant in the industry without having to, sacrifice my physical well-being. So it allowed me to be able to, I still cut grass every day. Like, people are like, oh, you got Catch Pro and, you just bought a Ram truck. I guess you're not, out here hustling every day. But I still go out and cut grass every day. It keeps me true. The reason why I do that is because I love it and enjoy it. But the part that I didn't love and enjoy was, let's say it's pissing down raining outside or, things like that. I'm in the situation now where I don't have to go out in the pouring down rain, or if I've got a headache or if I'm not feeling well or something, I don't have to go and do that at that point. And also don't let me, don't think that it's not that, I don't work anymore. I mean, I work around the clock now. I mean,
right.
I always think to myself, I'm so busy now. I've got 5 acres to mow. Then I've got to come back. I've got to build these catches. And then I always think about a dude like Corey or even yourself, because I understand how much work goes into all the media side of things. I mean, for me to edit a 2-minute video can take me 30, 40 minutes, because I'm just like, that's not right, or that's not right. And, the content that you bring out, it's like, whoa, man, that's, and, the funny thing too is, going back to Corey, is that at night here, like say 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, that's usually when I would contact Corey, and it's like 4:30 in the morning there, and he's getting up and he's going to the gym, and he never, ever doesn't respond to me. He gets back to me straight away. It's crazy. And then sometimes I get a message from him and it'll be like the middle of the day here, and I'm like, dude, you're not asleep yet? He's like, no, I've got to call China, or I've got to call, and it motivates me to be like, if orders come in at, 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and in the morning time, my wife's trying to get the kids ready for school, and she's trying to pack orders and send them out to everybody to make sure that they get them as quickly as possible. All of my role models and you guys over there, that's my motivation. I'm like, these guys can do it. These guys are hustling. I just got to keep going and keep going and keep going. And it's an awesome thing. Like I said, to answer your question, it helps me to stay relevant in the industry and earn some money, and to be able to continue to grow. And I really love and enjoy the other side of the business now. We've gotten opportunities to test and develop certain other products, hedge trimmers, for the guys over at Bush Ranger, which is the Spartan distributor. We tested the Hustler Super S for our market over here. And I've had the KG Spartan now for, I believe I had one before it was even released in your market. just because of the season, just because of the seasonal differences. So we've been doing all the product testing, and it's really cool. Like some of my own, I don't want to toot my own horn, but some of my own ideas actually got put into that Spartan KG stand-on.
Hey,
so it's really cool.
That's cool. That is cool. Yeah, I mean, there's so many guys.
Exactly.
Well, I was just going to say, there's so many guys that listen to the show that they're that VOC for so many brands out there, and they get to prototype and test. And I put a teaser on Instagram. Not like I'm a big deal by any means, and same thing like you were just saying, not to toot my own horn. And I'm like, dude, just got the, try this mower. And then I get 4 other guys DMing me. They're like, what did you think about this, this, and this, 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 and this? And I'm like, okay, clearly they got a demo too, because there's no way they would know X, Y, and Z, right? So it's really cool when those companies, and whether it's Skag or Xmark or Toro, I mean, so many of you guys out there, have these fun opportunities, and it's just exciting. I don't know, it's just exciting. Like frankly, like I don't want to call it like the cool kids club, or it's not an exclusive club. It's just, getting more involved in the industry and networking and meeting people. And I'll tell you what, the more you press in, the more you realize, like, somebody said it's like a, I don't know, 60 or 80 or $100 billion industry. It's like, for crying out loud, that's a lot of trimmers. That's a lot of mowers. It's a lot of fertilizer. Don't think you're too late to the game to make something, invent something, meet somebody, network, build friendships. It doesn't matter where you're at, from here to UK to Australia. It's wide open. And I just think that it's like one of those industries. The more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. It's no
evolving.
favorites. Yep.
It's evolving at a really fast rate. And I tell you what, like the battery market is going to blow. Like if anyone has awesome ideas out there, get amongst the battery market, because people seem to think like, oh, okay, it's, I'll look at that in say 2 to 5 years when everyone's got it, but the time is now. The time is now for some of this battery stuff. And I've been using the battery equipment for a while, not zero turns, but all of the hedge trimmers and blowers and stuff. Put it this way, man, for a hand blower, like, so I'm not talking about a backpack blower, like a handheld blower, I'll never pull cords again. Same with the chainsaw. It's battery 100%, because the time is now for some of that stuff. I
agree. I got a Milwaukee M18 handheld battery blower here in my garage, and I use it almost every other day to blow out the garage and the driveway here. So I am into that. Well, let's put it up right here, man. This is good. It's getting late for me. You're about to go grab lunch, I think, and this was a lot of fun. Thanks for taking time out of your busy day. I just think it's so cool. Like, you're literally in Australia. I'm in the US. There's, I don't know, 15,000 miles that separates us, or whatever it is. And we can still make friends, network, have great products and services out there, help all these guys listening in to make money doing leaf cleanups. I mean, if you make, $500 to $1,000, $2,000 a day doing leaves, and you got a catch pro on the side, thank Ben. I mean, shoot him a message. I mean, be like, dude, thanks for coming out with this cool product. And, he appreciates that encouragement. We're all looking for that encouragement, and so I just think it's really cool to see how we all win together as a community, as an industry. And, I guess the last product again, ballardashinc.com, the Brian's 10 code saves you 10% if you guys need one this fall. And by the way, thanks for the mentions in the Facebook groups, because I do see that when you guys do, somebody's like, hey, anybody got a code? And you're like, yeah, Brian's 10. I'm like, dude, that's like totally not expected, totally unexpected. And you guys are helping me and my family. I mean, I guess I don't share about that enough, but I mean, I literally do this to take care of Liz, and I got a baby now that's 4 weeks old. And, I'll tell you what, I thought I was working hard before, but man, like, your whole world changes when you start having kids. And Ben, you got 3 girls you were talking about and bragging on. And I get it. It's so cool. You want to take care of them. So thanks for supporting my side hustle, which I guess is this whole whatever we're doing here with YouTube and social media and the podcast. So thanks to all of you guys that support what we do every day. So that's what I got. So Ben, thanks again for taking time to be on the show, brother. We really appreciate it.
And thank you so much for having me, dude. It was an absolute blast. It was awesome to be able to finally connect with you and share this story that's hopefully going to go on for a long time to come.
Amen to that. Amen. Well, you know what? We're rooting for you, man. I'm sure you're just getting your feet wet. Now the sky's the limit, as they say, and there's so many more opportunities that keep opening up for you, for Corey, and so many more. So we're all just getting started, man. Who knows where this thing's going to be in 4 or 5 years. But the guys, that's what we got for today. We got Ben with the Catch Pro, as I affectionately will dub him here, and we appreciate him taking time to be on the show. If you guys enjoy the show, one last thing I'll just mention or ask: if you guys get anything out of the show, we super appreciate those ratings and reviews. The reason I bring it up is that we're at 930 ratings or reviews. I'm trying to get to 1,000 by the end of this summer. Summer's ending quick for a lot of us, 2-3 months. So if you guys haven't left just a 5-star, I mean, just scroll down, tap 5-star. It takes 2 seconds to do. We really appreciate that. If you guys want to leave a quick review, a couple sentences, we're going to be reading those off here just very, very soon here. Mr. Producer loves reading those off for you guys. Leave us some fresh reviews. We want to hear what you guys think about the show. Let us know how we're doing. Hint, hint, hint. If you can leave 5-star and a well-worded positive review, better chance of it getting read on the show, if you know what I'm saying. So just having some fun here. But Ben, thanks again, brother. We'll catch up with you here soon. Thanks for the time.
Awesome. Thanks, dude. See you, mate.
All right, guys. Well, hey, this was another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast, guys. We look forward to catching up with you guys here on the next one.
Hey, everybody. It is Caleb with Almond Landscape. Brittany and I are going to be speaking at Lawntrepreneur Live event here in Novi, Michigan on November 13th. Our speakers that are with us, and I humble myself with these kind of speakers, Paver Pete, Brian Fullerton, of course, Jeff Joyner, Greg Whitstock, Corey Ballard, and the one and only Keith Kalfas, of course. Fantastic value for the ticket price, for that kind of knowledge, experience. It's nothing but the epitome of value. Plus, as myself, as a guy that likes to eat, they feed you pretty darn well at this thing, too. So we really look forward to seeing you at Lawntrepreneur Academy. Live event. It's going to be fantastic. Again, November 13th, Novi, Michigan. We will see you folks there.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.